those magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Okay, here we go. This is a video of making the wing, part 5, I think it is. So we'll consider it. I forget, I've got my camera lady today, so that's brilliant. So this might be a bit of a long video, so if you get bored, just fast forward it. So if we bring you to the plane now. This is what I was on about in the last video, is detailing what you can on the wings. Right, I don't even see it in this again, but if you look on the Shuttleworth collection version, there's these there's 4 of these on each tip, and there's one there, which is not on the pup, but it's on that one. And I'm going to tell you now what's inside them. So we'll do these in 2 stages, because obviously that's what it's about. Okay, so we'll come back now to this. Bear with us. There's not a lot of room in here, so there you go. Right, so in order to get this, so they're going to sit. I've counted down the ribs, and as I said before, these ribs are more or less the same as the real one. So it's the 3rd one in here, where my finger is. There's the 3rd one. That's where you're going to situate this wheel, as they call it. Now, when I looked on it, if it's the same as the pup one, it's a similar thing. So here's one I made earlier. These, that's the kind of shape it's in them. So I'm going to show you how I made one of them, and obviously I have to make 5. Right, so the materials used, this, believe it or not, it's a bit of an old thin piece of metal that I got. You can get it right in the hobby shop, but somebody was dumping a barbecue, so I chopped it up. The barbecue is nice and thin, so I use this. So you basically get the width measured if you want to measure it, but I do it by eye because it's like a pair of metal cutters or guard. These are actually garden trimmers, but they do just as good. And then you basically just cut a strip. We'll do this live. This is on live. It says live. I mean, if you want to wear gloves, oh, mess, I would, but I mean, I don't bother. So, okay, so you got your basic shape there. Okay, maybe you want to trim it a bit. So you just, okay, that's just it. Right, I've got to remember, I've done that many times now. So you got your shape, and you want to just get your width, so you get your angle on it, so it's about there, so that, and you bend it over. So it's nice and soft, this metal, so there's nothing to worry about. And then the width of your wheel, which I'll come to in a minute, it's about there. Okay. Right, this is where all the good doers and all the good people are going to say, you should be using gloves and glasses. Wear glasses by all means. Right, so we come now with this. And this is the bit where it gets tricky. So you get a drill, a metal speed drill. And we'll put it on here for the camera you can see. And just use I use the pliers as a guide. This one's a bit wide, but... that one there. So you got them 2 drilled, that's obviously for the axle. Okay, right, and then once you got that, back to your metal clippers. I'll try not to rush it too much, but you know it is. Just cut it to size there. It doesn't matter if it's rough because you're going to tidy it up afterwards anyway. You'll see it all comes through rotation. So put your pliers back in. Now you need to drill a hole at the back, and I'll explain that after. I need to can't be tedious because you've got quite a few of them, but if you want to get as much realism to the plane as possible, this is part of it. Just slide it a bit there. Doesn't matter really. Okay, that's your back one. That's the drilling done for now. Right, so you got that. Okay, now, when I looked at it last, as the angles, it's just simply just chop them wherever you want. Again, wear glasses if you feel uncomfortable about chipping them. So, I'm trying to kill a camera lady. Okay, so you got that rough shape like that, because that's what it looks like inside that little thing. Okay. Right, so, we've got that now. Right, there you go. Now, the next stage is these happen to think, there's just a set of pins that I picked up. Right, the only thing I do, any old rod I do, is you've obviously drilled the hole to make it the right size, see? Okay, but I'll explain. Here we go. Right, these are old tail wheels that I picked up from a show years ago. I bought a box of them for about £5, and there was about 300 of them in it. So they were coming handy. Or any toy car wheel I do. You just basically cut the tyre off. So let's put it off. Okay. Right, and then on with this. I bet there'll be people out there going, what the hell? Right. So pre-drill the holes. Okay. Right. Get rid of the tyre. Right. So you've now got that. Okay. Okay. Right. And this one's quite lucky because it's got a stop on it. So then you put your wheel in the middle. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways of doing this, but I just know it is this way. And I might add, I'll just make this up as I go along, as you can probably tell. You know, because it's me. But when it's in the plane, I can get it in there. Okay. Okay, bloody see it. I can't see it, alright. There we go. There you go. Okay. Oh, right. Right, you got that in now. Now you can fettle with it if you want, because it is a bit wide. I mean, it's always good to make sure that you get it up against the where you're putting it in the wing to make sure. But this one's actually going in the middle, so I'm mad. But like you see, that's too big. So you can trim it all. There's no problem trimming it. That's easy. Okay. So but this is one I spared to make show you. Okay. So you got that. Right. And then it's sometimes I'm gonna get a piece. Get some epoxy resin. So not 2-part epoxy, like so. Okay. Mix it around like that. Right, and here's one I made earlier. Okay. You might want to sand the black paint off, but yeah, no, it's only. Okay, so we'll put this one on for now. Put it over there out of the way. Stick it anyway. I'll explain that in a minute. Alright, that's that. Right. Now this one. So you're going to trim these bars, snip the bars after you've got them bit of epoxy on there, just to give it a hole, get it in place. Now you know why I made a spare camera lady. Okay, here's your epoxy resin. Stick it anywhere on there. Okay, so when they set, which is 5-minute epoxy, this is your backing plate. So I'll just for example, pretend we cut a piece already. So you cut your shape out, and basically what you're doing is you're gonna, because you've got the metal plate behind it, we're gonna measure the size of that. Make a template if you like, and it's got to go in. So we'll just say it's about there. That'll do. It's only for show. So that will be glued in nice there. Okay. All right. And then what we do then is if you haven't got the wire, I usually use a bit of a rigging wire, because you've drilled your hole in the back. That's why the hole's in the back there. So you get your piece of rigging wire or any fuse wire. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter, because in fact fuse wire would probably be better. And you wrap it around the wheel, because when it's on there, it looks as if these are the cords. It must be something to do with they tension these things that goes to the ailerons. But it's only for show, so it won't matter. And you just put them in. But I'll show you that when I actually fit them in and show you how that's done. So that's that bit, right? Hope it isn't too quick, but you know, that's how it goes. Right, so now we're back to the wing. Alright, so that's that main right. As you can see, I think on the last one I was on about the wing tips and stuff. Just get rid of this junk out of the way. It's a little workshop full of everything away. Let's get rid of this quickly. Right, so what I've done here now, this is quite important. So this is a part of the detailing. I've chosen to do it differently from the plan, because I believe it's a better way for me. Okay, so I've made a solid place there, whereas on the plan they expect you to make it out of these ribs. You get these ribs and glue 5 of them together and bend it to shape. If you choose to do it that way, good on you, but I just can't be bothered. So what I've done is I've traced out the pattern here. In fact, I've got them here, look. So I've done it so I've made all of them at once, if you know what I mean, so it's monotony. So obviously there you go. So there's your pattern there. Okay, so you obviously made your wing, and that will fit inside there. Okay, and it fits flat to the base, so that the bottom of the wing is flat to the bottom of the wing, and that's according to the plan as well. So that's fair enough. And you Santa shape eventually, yeah. I've left some of this to show you. Okay, so you put that in. That's your strengthen a bit, which goes in, which is simple enough to do. You just get a piece of scrap bolt so it's nice and straight. Put it up. Get your pen. mark it like so, end to end, and just draw it. I'm doing this quickly because it's time on the video. Right, and just draw your line like so, cut it, and that'll be in line, super glue it in. Okay, these I might add, I white PVA these in. Alright, and then that when you've got it in nice and tight, that will hold it in with the white side with the cyno to just hold it there, you know, and that's the idea of that. Then I've sanded this to shape down is where it's meant to be. Now the reason I've left it as well is like when it comes to making the ailerons, which I'm coming to now, right, build them separate from the sheet. Again, I've made the 4, they're drawn out ready. They're the base plates for what I've put on there. The other ones are really reasonably simple enough to make. But what I've done is, if I can find them, I've changed this again. Instead of, I'm not going to do it the way they want with it, screwing the hinges flat to the bottom, so that, and you've got an angle. I actually found the piece. Bear in mind that I've only got 2 out of the 4 and they're missing. And if you can see, they're beveled so that you put your hinge underneath there onto a piece of hardwood behind it, so it goes up and down, you know, it goes into the angle flat like so. So that was the wing, so it's like that, you know, which I just don't like it. So I like it the other way. So what I've done is I've made my own to the thickness of that, 2 pieces of bolts to the thickness of that, okay, and then you cut to length afterwards. But that's, so they're in, you've pinned them in, all pinned in, so that's held in place. And then you basically, I've used, if I can find one, there you go, and they basically just glue onto there, and so forth, all the way along, okay, as you do. And these are super glued in, not white glue, okay. There's a couple there where you have to put, there's pieces of, it's the same shape, but it's plywood, thin ply that they've asked you to glue to it, can't find that, for the outside, and the middle bit where you're going to stick the aileron servo thing. Right, so we'll come to that now. So you've made your base up, and I've decided to do them both at once on this one, because obviously this wing's going to be the same as the top wing, you know, the same major basic design. Difference being, of course, now is that this piece I've put in here, this is going to be for the horn that sits on the bottom to go to the main servo. It's going to sit in the middle of the wing there, yeah. But this bit here, this is the bit is for your the rod. It goes up to the top aileron. So obviously, when the servo moves, you've got your top aileron, and they're going to move in tandem. So I've made that now. I made that again. I've made 4 of everything. Again, out of the same pieces of metal, like just thin sheet metal. You measure it, put it against the aileron like so. Put it against the aileron. You know, mark it with a pencil, yeah. And then you've got, it's a laborious way of doing it, but it's the best way I've found. But anyway, for me, is that once you've, I'll just do it, it's easier, isn't it? Told you it was a long video. So you mark it. Once you've marked it like that, you've cut, you get a piece of scrap by a bit of thin ply, any old ply will do, as long as it's nice and thin. You get another old, you get one of the original spars, go in and rib them, right? Draw around it on the thin piece of ply, I draw around it, and basically you're making a spare one of these and a ply version of it. Then where you've got your marks, you make sure it all fits in nice. Obviously, right, cut it where you've got the marks there, so the middle bit's out of the way, and then you place your metal piece, will go there. Now what I tend to do is once I've got the pieces of balsa in there, right, once they're in there, nice all ply, doesn't really matter, right, I super glue them in first, then I put this piece in, and this piece, the metal bit, is epoxied in. Okay, that's epoxied in there, and a bit of epoxy on the other side, and then the rivet you've made that's copied, that's super glued either side, there and there, and obviously the epoxy's on the side there, so that holds it in, and that will not move, no matter what. Well, it'll only move if you rip the rib out. Okay, so hopefully that's explainable to you. If not, just I'll put a comment underneath and I'll explain it a bit better if I can. Okay, so obviously I've made these all at one go. They're all exactly the same, more or less, pre-drilled, so everything's ready to go. So now, the other aileron, dare I say it, this other aileron, this is the horn that's there. Now if I go back to the video, picture even, if you can notice, you see up here where my finger is This is like there's nothing to do on the plan. It's just me because it's on the real plane. These are like false. They're going to be false rods that I've made for the pups and other ones. They go into the wing, and it's all like to make like it's all real rigging on a real plane would be like obviously to move everything off that little pulley, moves it all in and up and moves the ailerons up and down. Obviously with the joystick in the cockpit. So this is going to right. We'll come back to this. If these are made up out of, again, sheet metal, okay, you only need two obviously because so I've made them both at the same time so you get exactly the same one, right? So they're pre-drilled again. Now if you think that that rod's going to be a bit flimsy, afterwards you can always cut pieces around it, draw it, cut it and strengthen it that way if you need. But I find that this piece of metal is more than adequate because it's only false. It's only just it's literally going to sit in the wing like so. You put a block in here, hole in it, and when the wing's going up and down, the wire just runs in and out. It never goes anywhere, so it's nothing really to worry about, you know. So that, and being flimsy, you can tweak it a bit here and there. Okay, so that's why I always make everything. I always make them all at once. So if you need 4, you make 4, so forth. For 2 in this case, 4 for the little ones. Okay, and that's that for that. So that's that part of the video. Last part now, and I've bored everybody to tears. So I'm back. Okay. So you might notice this one I've cut the shape. So what you basically there, you've made your flat aileron. Obviously you've made all this first, not with these, obviously you know they're going last. So you've put that flat. What I then do is each aileron belongs to one ring, that's how I say it. Because no matter how good you are, no matter how perfect you make the wings, if you try and swap ailerons around, you will find that one's a little bit bigger than the other, always, and it doesn't, I don't care what anyone says. Expert builders that I know who do this professionally have told me exactly the same. They've tried to make them identical and it never works, okay? Whoever one wants to argue me, that's fine, but I never find it. So my advice would be, once you've got your aileron in situ for this wing, okay, because you always make the wing first, right? Then what I did was, obviously this is not the wing, that's the aileron for this wing, okay? But just for the video, sake of the video, once you've made it, you've sanded that down, right? This is your main wing. Okay, you draw down the side like that, you know, so you know where to sand this aileron down to the same shape as the main wing, which obviously I've done on this one. As you can see, this one is identical to that one. Okay, so that's basically how you do it. Okay, so and then I might add, once you've made to get it as near as down as possible, what I do is you use each aileron as a template and a wing, if you know what I mean. So when I start making the next wing, which will obviously be on the same side, it's the same sheet, so I'll make the top wing now. That's my next job, is to make the top wing. And once I've made the top wing, I will use this aileron as a guide to get the, I'll obviously draw this side because that'll be a flat sheet. So then you've got exactly more or less the one that you've already cut to the same sort of shape, okay? If that makes sense. You know, so like, for example, because I know people are going to get confused because I'm thick, right? So that's how it would be originally when you put it on. That would be flat like that. So obviously it's all glued in, and then this is the top wing I'm talking about now. Once you've got that in, you put the aileron you've made, it's shaped. You see what I mean now? So you've got that there, and then you would just draw down it, your marks there, and then you just cut to it. Okay, so that's that. Not much else really to it. What's left to do with this bottom wing? I've had a few comments. I haven't seen them. I've had a few comments saying that the camel, didn't have bracing strips over the top. And I've looked at the picture of the Shuttleworth version, and I actually am a bit confused with it all because it looks to me on the original that they did have capping on the ribs, you know, and so like, I would assume, I can't see how it would hurt to put the capping on the ribs, you know, as in on the pup and on the SC5A. You know, I don't see why it would hurt to put them on. Plus, I think it looks prettier, you know, but then again. So I'm going to really have another investigate a bit more and see, but we shall see. And I might add as well, on these bits here, on the ends of these ones, sand them off a little bit, because it will stick into the covering. It actually says it on the plan somewhere as well, but there you go. So there'll be short grips. No. So the next stage on the wing will be, I'm going to order their slimline servos tomorrow, and then they'll go in here. So I'll make a plate for that. Sit the servos. Once I get the servos, I need to see the servos really before I know where to position them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll put them in there. And that, apart from doing the little eyelet there, the other thing it needs to come up next, which I'm not going to do today because I've run out of time, is we've got to put in where we're going to, on this plan it shows you that you drill basically a hole through there and you bolt the metal plates up through where your struts are going to go on the wing. So we'll have a look at that. I believe it's positioned on there, see? So where are 5? There you go. So it'll be around about, according to this plan anyway, they're there, on there, and obviously one in there, like so. And obviously it's important to get them in the right places, but we'll do that in the next video. Okay, so that's probably my next job in the next video, is to drill these out, because I wanted to make one wing first, everything on it, and then that way you can go along with it. It's like making thousands of videos and boring everyone to tears. I can't think of anything else I didn't show on the last wing. These, the back plates here, these are I white glued these on and pinned them in with a clamp. Okay, I did it off the plan so I could get them nice and level there, so you can stand so. And it's the same with this back plate here. They're very thin, took it off, and these are super glued on. Okay, and then fix it so it gives you a bit of chance to get them in. These little bits they ask you to put in a plan, just strengthen it so they're in. And that's mainly it, I think. You know, there's not much more to this than that for the wing. I'll also show you how I do the angling on this once I've got it all in right, okay? And so that, you know, well positioning rather than screwing them at the bottom like it says on this plan. I don't fancy that at all. Okay then, well, I don't think I've missed anything. I don't think I missed anything at all. If anyone thinks I have, then please tell me, but I can't see it. You know. Yeah, okay. So that's about it for now. Okay. Alright then. Cheerio. Bye.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men.